So Love, or Love 3D as it is sometimes referred to, which is the latest sort of cause célèbre from Gaspar Noé, who in the past has made Sol Contra 2, Irreversible, Enter the Void. Films which have all been sort of Cannes favourites, have received a lot of attention, not least for their desire to push extreme cinema in a certain way. So basically what happens is that Gaspar Noé says of Love, I want to film that which cinema has rarely allowed itself, either for commercial or legal reasons. He says that he wants to film the organic dimension of love, free from the ridiculous division that dictates that no normal film can contain overly erotic scenes. Essentially what he's saying is, I want to make a love story in which it's explicit, in which it's using iconography that in the past has been images that in the past have been the domain of hardcore cinema. Now, this sounds like a perfectly legitimate thing to do. The film played at Cannes. Actually, of course, there is nothing particularly new about wanting to do that. I mean, ever since the days of, Aino Corrida and Taxis and Clo, there have been plenty of directors who have done that thing about taking, explicit real sex imagery, using it in films which are much more mainstream, whether it's, Catherine Breillat's Romance, or Michael Winterbottom's 9 Songs, or Patrice Chéreau's Intimacy, or even Baise-Moi, or, the list is endless. Or Short Bus, actually, John Cameron Mitchell's Short Bus, which I think is the film which in many ways tells you what's wrong with love. The other thing is that what Gaspar Noé has decided to do in a very Gaspar way is to do it in 3D. So it's a story in which there is a great concentration on the physical, but that's not the whole film, which is kind of like a Last Tango in Paris inflected story of a young wannabe filmmaker in Paris who is oppressed by fatherhood, and he's going back in his memories to a lost love, a relationship which he lost as a result of being brought together with now the mother of his child through a threesome, and then his old relationship fell apart, and now he finds himself in a situation in which he's desperately in love with the past. He is very much a mouthpiece for Gaspar Noé. He says, he talks about how brilliant 2001 is. He talks about the desire for cinema to have sensitive sexuality. He says a lot of things that Gaspar Noé himself would say, although frankly every single character in the film is an aspect of Gaspar Noé. One of them is called Gaspar, one of them is called Noé, played by Gaspar Noé himself, actually turns up.
I already hate this film and I haven't seen it.
Okay, fine. On the plus side, there's a playfulness about Gaspar's approach to exploitation cinema. When you make this kind of movie in 3D, you can say all you want about it. It's to do with immersing the characters, but actually it's more to do with referring back to, there's a movie from the 1969, 1970 called The Stewardesses, which was a softcore film in 3D for which the tagline was, "These lusty lovelies leap off the screen and into your lap." And that's really the kind of, the carnivalesque one. And there is an awful lot of carnivalesque jiggery pokery going on in 3D as far as the Gaspar Noé film is concerned. The problem with it is that it does have 3 central characters who are really uninvolving, and that is a real problem. If you look at Short Bus, which is from 2006, and which is a film which explores the polymorphous sex lives of its characters, but its characters remain fully rounded and engaging and likable. And I think that's a film which has done something very, very brave, which is to make a very, very explicit film, but a film which really actually has a lot to say about love. In the case of the Noé film, it is all to do with surface. It's all to do with sensationalism. There are moments in it that are funny. It's certainly not boring. But the problem is that the 3 central characters are phenomenally uninvolving. And so weirdly enough, for a film that's called Love, it ends up being a movie that is spectacularly lacking in that kind of engagement. And if you want to see what's wrong with it, look at Short Bus, because that's the film that Gaspar is kind of talking about.